3, my dad stopped playing with me. He didn't want to have anything to do with me. And something that stuck with me for so long until I got into church and everything was I lived in a cul-de-sac, and I lived on one side, and at another side in the cul-de-sac there's some friends I used to play with. I used to play with them. They were really good friends. And one day my mom was like, "Hey, get up. I have to show you something." And so we walked down the street, and I'm like, "Oh, you know them? What we're going over there for?" And we sat down and talked. And the people that I was playing with was my sister and my cousin. And I didn't have any clue who these people was until they told me. So after that, I became angry and bitter towards my father because I felt like, why didn't I know them? Why did he not want to claim me? And so I held on this bitter and angerness for so long. And then, and then I started getting to church. A friend brought me to church, and then, I still had that anger and that bitterness. I came up sometimes and wanted to let it go, but I didn't let it go. And so one year at church camp, I was kind of just, praying on it, like, God, I want you to take this away. And then and they had an altar call about forgiveness. And I went up there, and I got on my knees and I started seeking God and said, "Hey, I don't want this anymore." And so Pastor Tim, he came up and he started praying with me and started interceding for me. And then it was even after the preacher got the mic and was preaching, I still stayed at that altar because I knew I did not let it go. And Pastor Tim stayed with me on that altar until I let it go. And when I got up, there was such a joy that came from me that I have never had before. And it's to this day now that I have forgave him. I think it's been about 4 or 5 years now. And I have seen him a couple of times. And when I seen him, I went up to him with he came up to me, and I went up to him with a love towards him. Because I didn't have any anger or bitterness. I was able to talk to him.
Yes.
I was able to talk to him without, saying, "I don't want to talk to you," anything like that. And then from that, from just talking with him and him seeing that I didn't have anything towards him, he said, "Hey, I want to come back into your life." And I was like, I've been 18 and I had just graduated after I saw him. And I was like, and I started praying like, "God, where should I go with this?" And I talked to Pastor Kim a lot, and he was just praying about it. And so I prayed about it. And it wasn't that God wanted me to just get back into this big relationship or, really talk to him that, because, and I look after that, just praying about it, he started paying monthly child support check that really helped my mom. And I guess it wasn't that so much that I needed to give back as he wanted to be my father, but it was just something that he was willing to give it. And then I felt a joy within me that it was like I don't necessarily need him like that anymore, because I have came to this church and there are so many fathers that have sought after God and that have prayed and that interceded for me.
Yes.
That I would come up and then look at me now. I got to ask me and Micah to start touring the dance team. I'm now officially, I'm at the board, I'm now officially on the prayer team, and all I got to do is thank God.
Yes.
Because he used the leaders of this church and the father figures of this church and the older generation to seek on their face for this generation and for me to have spiritual fathers in here. And I just want to thank all the dads in here and you younger kids. Appreciate your father. They may be telling you something that you might not want to take in.
Right.
And you think they're so harsh on you, but they're not. They want to love you. All they do is to love you and to see you succeed.
Yes.
So I tell you, adore your mother and your father, whoever is over you. Adore them so much, especially your spiritual parents, because they want to see you succeed, and they want to see you grow up and don't be like and not have to go through the things they go through. So I tell you even at the age like Dakota is, even you, Jaden, intercede for your parents because they intercede for you. And this time we start thanking this older generation and the ones that sought after God for us to come up and to seek after this generation. And I just want to thank all you leaders, you parents, and I want to just thank you for the interceding that you've done for me. and for the other youth crew.